Welcome back to the Bottom Line Podcast with JD Brazio and Ben Mully. Ben took a little bit of a hiatus. Spring break has come and gone, but we're back on the grind on the podcast.
Yeah, it's that weird lull period of the year where like sports is in that in-between phase for like pretty much every sport. I mean, even I guess basketball and hockey are in the swing of things, but they both just got out of the All-Star break. So it's kind of we're kind of in a lull period. It's a little bit of a slow time in sports, but lots of exciting stuff still going on.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff going on because today we're doing a March Madness special. And this is something we've been looking forward to do probably since we established the pod.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first early visions of when we started this podcast, is doing stuff like this, stuff that we wouldn't get to do on our old radio show. So we're really excited to break down some brackets. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I know maybe you're not as knowledgeable into the whole thing.
It's March Madness.
March Madness. And that's what makes it so pretty, is even the people that aren't so knowledgeable.
And typically it doesn't seem like the people that are less knowledgeable typically fare better for whatever reason.
Which makes me mad. Every year. My family bracket challenge is the perfect example of it. I believe my mom's won it like 3 out of the last 5 years. I think my sister might have won it somehow one year. And there's never, you don't know who's going to do well because it's so unpredictable.
I remember the one year my family did a bracket pool for another family, like one of our family friends. So there's 2 families, and my brother, who doesn't watch sports at all, just went straight chalk, not a single upset. And like the points just tallied out to that's how it played out. And he won just by going straight chalk. So it's just funny. And then for fans that do our football, I think we'll be back with football here next week or the following week because a lot has happened.
We'll stay quiet, but a lot's happened.
We just want to wait till like everything's said and done so we can just make one massive video.
Let the dust settle a little.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on. But today we're talking about March Madness. And the way we're going to have it set up is Ben has his laptop right off camera. Yeah. I see it. Mine is right here. So we're going to be flip-flopping on the screen doing our picks live. But before we go into our picks, we have a little bit to talk about, maybe a little bit of stuff to get off your chest, because my Tar Heels were dancing. The Seton Hall Pirates, I mean, just tough hours. Tough. I mean, that's all I can say.
Well, I'll say this: it's a good point to talk about just the bracket in general. What a weird year of college basketball it ended up being. We saw probably the most confusing 68-team pool we've probably ever seen. I mean, at least from my memory.
And that's what the committee chair said. This was the hardest.
I mean, this was a hard year to decide, and it comes down to a couple of things. It came down to the biggest thing being what we call bracket stealers or bid stealers, not bracket stealers. Bid stealers were basically teams that probably weren't going to make it and somehow won their conference championships, and not only low-level conference championships, but big-time ones, like you said, your Oregons, your NC States, even a team like Northwestern, who had a really big run in the tournament. These teams would have never made it, but they got to the final week of the season, won some crucial games down the stretch, and they barely snuck in and messed over some teams, like you mentioned, my Seton Hall Pirates. I know everyone was furious, including myself, about the Big East, the second best conference in basketball, only getting 3 bids. Kind of absurd when the Big Ten gets, I think it was 6 or 7 got into the.
We were texting about this back and forth, and it looks like the committee really just kind of leaned towards that, like established name brand programs. And we were seeing teams like Michigan State's, Virginia's, these programs that everybody knows as like icons of college basketball. And they've had a down year for their standards, but still got a bid. It was almost like they had that name rec. And that was like almost enough to get him in. That was at least the vibes I got. I'm not sure if you would agree with that.
I mean, it seems that way. Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Virginia, but man, I'm still sitting here.
Pitt beat them twice, and Pitt's out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sitting here trying to figure out how Virginia got into the tournament. They went 2-7 in what are do you know what a quad 1 win means?
Yeah.
They went 2-7 in quad 1 wins. That just spells NIT.
And Virginia has a track record of underperforming in March Madness tournaments.
Yeah, so they never do well.
So we'll see how they fare this year. But I mean, is there anything else we really want to talk about the poll? I mean, it's March Madness. We're not paid analysts, so don't expect us to have a full breakdown for every single team. I mean, at least for me, I don't know about you. Some of them just come out of gut picks for the most part.
Yeah, some of them are guts. I like the bracket. I think there's a lot. Almost every single side of the bracket has storylines to talk about. I think there's a lot of intriguing matchups. I think there's a mixture of easy pathways for established teams to make a run. And then there's also some pathways for some maybe sleeper teams that, hey, like this team's really got a shot to make a run. So I'm excited. I cannot wait for Thursday. First tip off, I believe, somewhere around noon on Thursday.
Yep.
We'll be stuck in class, but I'm sure I'll have the game on the side.
I mean, I'll probably have my game on the tab too. So that's 2 games on the side. We'll just have to keep it on the low. Hopefully our professor's not watching this.
Yeah.
If she is, then that's just going to be tough.
We're sorry. It's for a good cause.
It's for a good cause. But so how this is going to work is we'll have our screens on the bracket. So we're just going to go by each We're going to go by each round, by each region. So we'll do my East round of 64, his East round of 64, so on and so forth till we get to the national title game. So let's see if I can do this properly. All right, beautiful. So this is my first round. We're starting with the East.
Yeah.
And for starters, UConn versus Stetson. I mean, I think UConn is undoubtedly the number one team in basketball, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Well, this is another thing to point out. The committee agrees. This is the number one overall seed. You can, I don't know how to check that officially, but I know for a fact UConn was ranked the number one overall seed. So
then you have FAU versus Northwestern. FAU went on that crazy run a few years ago. The 8 and 9s are always tough. Here's some of your coin flipper ones. FAU has the tournament rec. Like you said, Northwestern's hot right now. I'm taking Northwestern this one. Yeah. I feel like sometimes you just got to roll with who's hot. And Northwestern, they're playing the best basketball they played all year long. They had played their best basketball going to the tournament. FAU had a really bad loss. They were supposed to win their conference. They lost in the conference itself. It might have been a wake-up call for them. Give me Northwestern to beat FAU. We're going to keep going down.
One thing to point out there is a lot of people didn't even have FAU in the tournament.
I'm honestly surprised that they made it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's one of those, I forget the exact name of the conference, but that's one of those conferences where if you're not winning it, you're out for the most part.
Well, and it's crazy too, because clearly the committee disagreed, because usually those bubble teams aren't the 8-9 seed. If you're an 8 seed, you were locked the whole time. So it's crazy to see that the committee completely saw it a different way.
I'm going to go to San Diego State here to take over UAB. San Diego State, a great defensive team, and we saw them. Was it just last year where they went on a pretty good tournament run, or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, so this is another crazy storyline in this. If you want to zoom out a little bit to put this in perspective, if you look at these first 3 games, you'll notice something. Three of these first 6 teams were in the Final Four last year. UConn, FAU, and San Diego State all were in the Final Four last year, and they're somehow all matched up in the same side of the bracket, potentially a second round rematch of one of the Final Four games last year, I believe.
Wow, that is pretty crazy. I didn't even realize that until you said that. All in the same bracket. And I feel like this is bracket, the East region in particular, is relatively stacked because you have 4 conference winners in this bracket, one of them being Auburn, who I'm going to take to beat Yale. Kind of the same rationale for Northwestern. They just won the SEC tournament. I really don't see them being upset by Yale, who just sneaked by Brown by the skin of their teeth in there.
And Brown wasn't a good team.
So that was very telling for me. I'm going to give Auburn. I think they're going to win that one very, very handedly. And this is my first emotional pick. Yeah. I'm picking the Duquesne Dukes. Yeah. I ran cross country in high school.
Okay.
My friend on the cross country team got a scholarship for Duquesne.
Okay.
So for her, I got to roll with the Dukes. I got to. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about both these teams, but I feel like every year there's few emotional picks. This is one of them for me. And granted, they're playing good basketball too.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories the whole tournament. First tournament appearance since, ready for this, 1978 was the last time the Duquesne
Dukes. You're Mr. Encyclopedia today. I love it. Love it.
Was the last time the Duquesne Dukes were dancing. And like you said, a heck of a team here. Another thing to point out here, you want to talk about encyclopedia knowledge here. Another thing to point out here is this game is in, guess what city this game will be played at?
Let's see, can I view it here? I'm not sure. Hit me with it.
Pittsburgh, their home arena.
All right.
So they will be having home court advantage for this game.
As an underdog.
But they're one of the best home teams in their entire conference, has gone on an incredible run. I think this is one of the more, obvious upset picks of the first round.
All right. That's what I like to hear. I'm going to go with Illinois over Morehead State. Again, I mean, I just really like teams that have momentum going into March.
They had a great run.
They had another great run again. Another conference title.
Won the Big Ten.
I feel you can't go wrong there. Washington State, Drake. 7-10s are always interesting to me because I feel like this is where is Washington State really that much better than Drake? No, but the seeding would say that they are. These ones are always tricky for me. For me, I'm going to go Washington State here. I think they're just a bit more proven as a team. They faced tougher opponents throughout their season. I mean, these are the coin flippers, if we're just being honest, at least for me.
Yeah, Drake's coming back to the tournament. I believe for it's either the second or third straight year, more of an established team in the tournament. Washington State's doing it for the first time in a couple years. I know they haven't made it in a while, but I don't mind that pick.
And my last one going Iowa State. Iowa State had a really good case to be a 1 seed in this tournament.
I'll say it.
They are a 2 seed. I see them winning against South Dakota State by a lot. So that's going to do it for my first pick here in the round of 64. It's going to be Iowa State, Washington State, Illinois, Duquesne. I'm scrolling up here. Auburn, San Diego State, Northwestern, and UConn. We'll now see if I can do this properly. Flip it to Ben's, and there we go. Beautiful. Look at me. Tech genius.
Awesome. So we're going to work from the top. The obvious pick, the easiest one is always the 1 over 16. I don't care what anyone says, just because it's happened, twice in the last 6 years. Until it keeps happening consistently, I'll never lose faith on that pick. Okay. Not really much to break down here. Stetson barely snuck in. I like their coach. I think the coach for Stetson used to be an assistant at UConn. Kind of a weird story there. Whatever. Not really that much. The 8-9 matchup, very intriguing. This is one of my favorite matchups just because not only is it 8-9, so about as a coin flip as it gets, but two very exciting teams to watch. I'm going to roll with Northwestern as well. I love the whole story with Northwestern. They had a really good Big Ten run. I love Boo Buie, one of the best players in the whole country. Just a really, really good team. Now, this one's tough. I have a personal connection to UAB. I don't know if you know this. I'm a huge fan of UAB's football team.
Well, their football program has just had a documentary-esque storyline like the past decade with it being cut, and now it's back again. So, I mean, it's a very likable program. I mean, I'm a fan of the Dragons, too. How can you not?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in my dresser here, next to off camera, there is a UAB Blazers shirt.
Oh, wow. So you're that.
Oh, I have a couple.
Oh, man. Wow, he's rocking and rolling.
So you're learning more things about me. But, yeah, I am going to take San Diego State for the pure reason that not only is there are a lot of favorable 12-5s in this tournament, I just don't want to take too many. I know the 12-5 is it's the oldest trick in the book. If you're a March Madness fan, it's the oldest. It's the most common upset. It happens every year. The problem is there's so many. There's a lot of trap ones this year, and as much as I'd be happy if UAB wins this game. I just can't do it.
And like we saw San Diego State earlier, they've been in this moment. They know what it feels like. They know what it takes to go on a run. That credibility, that experience, it does mean a lot in March. It does.
Yeah. Next, I'm going to go with Auburn. Once again, this seems like we're going straight, pretty standard stuff here. But like we talked about, Yale really wasn't a team that was supposed to really make a big run here. They kind of got lucky, had a really good tournament run. They beat Brown by the skin of their teeth, like you said. And Brown, no disrespect to the Brown Bears, but not exactly a team that should have been in the conference tournament to begin with. And then another one which is we're kind of filling out a similar bracket here. I am going to take Duquesne.
All right, let's go. Go Duke.
I told you, this is one of the most obvious upset picks for me. I just love the story. I think Duquesne's now battle tested, as they would say. Kind of had a good run. They're playing in their home.
Hey, you heard it here first. When Duquesne goes on a run, don't tell us that we didn't tell you so.
Yeah, they're just it's one of those stories. I am going to take Illinois as well, fresh off a Big Ten championship. I think that to me just seems like one of those. If you win the Big Ten, the best conference of basketball, you're probably going to at least win one game in the tourney.
Yep.
Here's where we differ. I'm going to take Drake.
Right.
To me, Drake, like I talked about, they've been in the tournament for a couple years now. A very strong team. I know a couple people had them as a 9 seed in a couple of their bracketologies. I really like this Drake team. Not good enough to get by Iowa State, which is such an unfortunate draw for them because I think if they would have played any other 2 seed, I could have maybe had a chance. But this Iowa State team's no joke, which leads me to my next pick. This is I really like Iowa State, so I'm rocking with the Iowa State Cyclones.
And you know what? Since we're on your screen, how about you just keep on going? You just go down on the next region.
All right,
the West.
All right, so the easy one right away.
Go Heels, baby. Go Heels.
Especially these games. I talk about this. The committee, I don't know if there's a way to fix this somehow, but why are we letting play-in games be for the 16 seed?
Yeah, I think I like it for that 7 to 12 range.
Yeah. I just think it's so stupid. If you're going to do these playing games.
You get to win a game for the rights to play the number 1 seed. It just.
You play a game for the rights to lose. Yeah. I mean, how exciting. Especially with this year. Why couldn't we have done all 4 bracket team bubble games? Give me a Seton Hall versus Indiana State game for a play-in spot for one of the 10.
That would be cool if they incorporate the first 4 out somehow into.
You can't tell. I'm sorry, but those teams deserved more of a play-in game.
He's still salty about it.
Not important. Give me the Tar Heels. I know that's your team. Give me the Tar Heels in the first round. Here's another 8-9 matchup. For me, I'm going to take Mississippi State.
Oh, okay.
I like their matchup better. I think Mississippi State's had a couple of really big wins this year. Michigan State kind of got hot towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. I know it's really hard to bet against Tom Izzo in March, and it's going to be one of the. I mean, I'm all for it if we can get a Michigan State versus North Carolina game in the second round.
I mean, when I felt out, I was a little nervous just because that's not a draw you necessarily want just with their track record. I'll give my spiel when I'm picking mine, but yeah, that was my opener when I saw that one for sure.
Yeah, here's a weird matchup: St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. Now, St. Mary's kind of plays one of those smaller conferences, wins a lot of games, plays really standard.
Same conference as Gonzaga, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep. Textbook basketball, knows what they're doing. I'm going to take St. Mary's. I didn't like Grand Canyon as a 12 seed. I know a lot of people had them a little lower, but I think they won their conference, so kind of no choice but to keep them that high. Here's an exciting game. Alabama versus Charleston.
Charleston, the 3-point shooters, if I remember correctly.
These teams could score 200 points if they really wanted to. These are 2 of the best offensive teams in the country, which happen to match up to each other in the first round.
This might be one of those games that whoever's hitting their shots is going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my first big upset here. I'm going to take Charleston. I know Alabama is one of those teams that really doesn't play well in the tourney. I believe Charleston a few years ago was in the tourney, kind of got bounced early. I think they were really close, getting over the hump. I'm going to take Charleston in this game. I love the matchup. I believe it's in their backyard as well.
Yep.
A little bit of home court if my understanding of where the games are played at. Give me Charleston. That might be a shocker to you. Then
I like it. I'm here for it.
Then we have Clemson versus New Mexico. I'm just going to take Clemson. This is a weird game for me. I don't really trust either of these teams to really make a run, but I just don't know if I like New Mexico better than Clemson. Kind of a coin flip game for me is despite the seeds the seeds saying otherwise, I'm just going to take the higher seed. It's one of my weird games that probably I'm just going to have whoever wins this game losing in the second round anyways.
Yep.
I might lose sleep over it. I might not.
We'll find out.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Then I'm going to take Baylor over Colgate.
Toothpaste.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take Baylor. I just think it's just too obvious. I don't know. Colgate just doesn't really do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. Dayton, I think one of the best sleeper teams in this whole tournament.
I'm so happy you said that. I think the 7 was a little disrespectful, quite frankly.
Yeah, this Dayton team has been, they've been close in and around the top 25 rankings in the whole year. Somehow they end up as a 7 seed. That one makes no sense to me. You should have been, I think they should have been a 5 or a 4 seed.
Top 5. Yeah, definitely top 5 seed.
Give me Dayton by a pretty large margin. No disrespect to Nevada. One of those bubble teams again. Can't believe they made it, but whatever. Go Nevada, I guess. Here's a fun story. I don't know if you saw this one. Arizona versus Long Beach State. I'm going to take Arizona, but Long Beach State, I don't know if you saw the story on this. Their coach was announced to be fired.
Yes, I did see this. He got fired and they go on this run and now they're dancing. You know what? And that's a locker room that is just absolutely playing their hearts out for the coach.
You think so? I was going to say that goes one of two ways for me. It's either it's that little bit of awkwardness or maybe it's like, screw it. We got nothing to lose. Let's give coach one last round.
That's why I'm thinking they're rocking with, and that's a heck of a story. And I'll be rooting for Long Beach State for sure, as should the entire country. I feel like.
Yeah. So yeah, an interesting region. I like the West region. A lot of potential matchups that could go, one of two ways. But yeah, that's my West region.
All right, let's see what I'm rocking with. Let's scroll down here to the West region. I'll pick up this piece of place. North Carolina. We have a whole lot more to add there. Go Heels. I'm going to take Michigan State, though, against Mississippi State.
I don't hate it.
Only because of just the track record of Michigan State. There's only that 1 year where they were a 2 seed. I forget the team they lost to off the top.
Middle Tennessee State.
Yes, thank you. When they lost to Middle Tennessee State, I was like, the only time in recent memory where Michigan State really just folded in the tournament. I just think they always just win that one game under Enzo. So give me Michigan State to beat Mississippi State. And St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. This was another one. I'm picking St. Mary's just because I feel like they're the slightly better team on paper. Don't really know a whole lot about
Weird 12-5.
Grand Canyon. And I'm also going to pick Alabama over Charleston. Not really a lot of upsets for me in this bracket so far. These are both teams that can shoot the lights out, like you said.
Yeah.
This is just going to be coming out to whoever shots are falling. Alabama on paper has the better athletes. Their shots should be falling more than Charleston's in theory.
Yeah.
Give me the Roll Tide to defeat Charleston. Clemson, New Mexico. Give me New Mexico to win it.
The Lobos.
Just because, so I'm a Carolina fan, so I do follow ACC more than any other conference. And Clemson's just been so up and down the entire season. The Clemson that I know I can show up, they can surely beat New Mexico. But they've been so inconsistent where I think that's where you look for in your upsets. Teams that are inconsistent and that can lay a goose egg, and Clemson can definitely do that.
I told you this would be one of those games where it's like I might change it 2 days from now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Baylor over Colgate. Baylor, 3 seed. They're such a good team. This tournament is just so deep. Baylor has a 3 seed. They
won the tournament a few years ago.
Yeah, this Baylor team's dangerous. I really like Baylor. Then, like you said, I'm glad you gave Dame their props. I really like the Dayton team. You'll see what I'm going to say in here in a second, but I may even have them going a little Cinderella.
It's a heck of a second round matchup they're setting up for.
That's interesting. And Arizona over Long Beach State. Again, Arizona, another great team. Transfer student Caleb Love comes in. He's been doing great stuff for there. So there's my picks for the West. I guess we'll just jump across the bracket here. We'll go, what region is this?
Midwest.
Midwest. Are we cool with just rocking still?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Purdue Boilermakers here for a second because this team has been dominant in the regular season for a couple years in a row now.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of fall apart in March.
Well, last year was the ultimate fall apart of fall aparts when you lose to Fairleigh Dickinson, also known as FDU.
Do you believe it?
Yeah, iconic line there. Yeah. But, historically not a good team in March. I think they're going to at least get past these demons.
I do have them winning the first. Surely. Third time.
I'll put it on camera so I can clip it later if it happens. There's no way, right? Surely.
Especially,
there's no
granted, this year, they're playing the winner of a playing game. Last year they didn't get to say that. This year,
no.
Oh, was it a playing game last year? Oh no, I didn't even know that.
You remember the clip of the coach that they won the game and then they went to the locker room and the coach Fairleigh Dickinson goes, the more and more I watch Pitt or more and more I watch Purdue, the more and more I think we can beat them.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah,
and it did.
Oh man,
yeah.
So there's no way 2 years in a row they lose to a play-in 16.
There's no way, right? Yeah, I mean, dude, please, Purdue.
I'm going to take Utah. Oh, I hit the wrong button there. I hit the wrong button again. There we go. I'm going to take Utah State over TCU. Utah State, I feel like the past years, we've seen them just make the tournament a few years in a row now. And
they were 11 seed a few years ago.
They've been there. They know the stage. I mean, the 8 and 9s are always just so tough. I mean, pick. Sure, we'll go Utah State over TCU. Gonzaga versus McNeese. Now, Gonzaga is typically a blue blood of college basketball. They really took a step back this year.
Yeah.
And if there's a year where you're going to have a team that accepts Gonzaga in the first round, it's going to be this year. Give me McNeese to take down Gonzaga. I just don't know.
I can break this game down. There's only 4 teams in the tournament that have won 30 games this year. McNeese is one of them. And I know
one of those teams you just don't want to draw in the first round.
No, they're a good basketball team. They've won 30 games this year. And I forget the other 3 teams off the top of my head. There's another one that's in a lower end conference, and then there's 2 powerhouse teams. But McNeese can win basketball games.
I'm going to take Kansas then over Samford. I mean, Kansas, they are just one of those another blue bloods. They know what it's like to do in the tournament. They had a really great run those years ago where they lost to my Tar Heels in the national championship.
Yes.
So, I mean, just under Bill Self, he used
36 straight years in the tournament.
Yeah, you just rarely see Kansas get upset early. I don't see him losing to Samford. We go near South Carolina versus Oregon. I'm going South Carolina. I mean, if we're being honest, if Oregon didn't go on a crazy run, they would not be in this tournament at all.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where if the tournament was in 1 or 2 days, I think Oregon has a better chance. But you have this whole week cool-off period where just so much anticipation. I just don't know if I can continue to see Oregon play how they did in that tournament. Surely they could. I mean, I said it earlier. I mean, they're playing the best basketball they ever had, but I still think they're bound to cool off. So I'm going to take South Carolina there. I'm going to take Creighton over Akron, Ohio. I know King James is probably going to take his hometown boys to go on a little run. I just don't see it happening.
I love this Creighton team.
You probably know more about Creighton much more than I do, but in the games that I've watched, they've looked very, very good.
Yeah, I love this Creighton team. I can save some of my analysis for when I go make my picks, but that's a good basketball team.
I'm going to take Texas. Is this Virginia here? The UVA? No, that's not Virginia. They're a much higher seed. I'm not sure where this is. Colorado State and
I think that is Virginia.
Did they draw a 10 seed?
I believe so. I can check on that.
We can fact check. Either way, I think if Colorado State wins, that's a bit more of an interesting pool. I'm gonna go with the hook 'em horns though. Give me Texas to beat whoever wins this game. Then Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's is a really funny story that you have a lot of connections to because isn't that where your former head coach or the current head coach of Seton Hall was at last year's?
Yeah, Shaheen Holloway. It's his second year now at Seton Hall, but he was the St. Peter's coach.
Oh, no, it is Virginia. Okay, I was right. So Virginia, Colorado State. So that's actually going to be a pretty fun game to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more of the playing seeds that I like to see. And you know what? If Virginia's going to make it, at least they put them in a play.
At least they deserve to make it. But this St. Peter's team, they were a 15 seed a few years ago, had the historic run as a 15 seed. Maybe we see it again.
We're not going to see it again. We're not going to.
Surely it doesn't happen, but it kind of makes you a little queasy when you think about it. You're like, oh man, maybe I don't know.
No, it's definitely interesting. But that's my Midwest region. I think only one big upset I really had here was the McNeese over Gonzaga. So we'll see what Ben has to say about that. So far, pretty similar brackets though through one half. So we'll see if we have any more disagreements here. But the floor is officially yours, my friend.
All right, so we'll start with the easy one. Once again, give me Purdue. I just don't. Until like I said, I'm not going to break it down. You know the deal. Okay, Utah State versus TCU. Give me the Horned Frogs.
Sure. I mean,
I love TCU. I love the branding. I love the Horned Frogs. This team's had a couple really hot games. I believe they knocked off a really good team at one point this year. I can't remember it, but they've had some ups. So just give me
religious school. I mean, I'm rocking that. I mean, I have that emotional connection. I'll be happy if they win.
Sure.
It's an 8-9. It's an 8-9.
Yeah, go Horned Frogs. To me, this is my favorite 12-5 of the whole tournament. If I can.
Oh man, did we have Duquesne and McNeese both winning? This is okay. We forgot to say this in the opening. We didn't know each other's picks before recording.
This is live. This is
so
live.
We're reacting as you guys are. We had no idea we're both going to pick Duquesne and we're both picking McNeese. It's actually ironic. I thought for sure that was not going to happen.
Yeah. No. Also, I want to point this out for any of my family watching or any of my friends watching. This is my live bracket. This is the bracket I'm putting in for my bragging rights, potential money on the line.
Oh man.
I mean, this is my
high.
Yeah, this is my real bracket. I thought I'd save it. Might as well. I mean, if there's some tough decision, if you're going to see me sitting here stressing, maybe you'll know why.
And you know what? And they should have it on camera saying like, "Hey, this is me explaining it right now. You can't say there's no BS for this.
Yeah,
you have proof. You know, maybe you know what? And I'll say this too. This is gonna be my official bracket as well.
Sure.
For the same reasons you just said.
Sure. But yeah, give me McNeese. I told you that they win basketball games. That's what they do best. This Gonzaga team, they've surely
there's just something to have a winning culture. When you're just so used to winning, it's contagious.
Yeah. It's just this team seems like they're built. I mean, every year there's always that 1-12-5. This one just seems so obvious to me. But then again, usually the ones that end up being 12-5s are the least obvious one. So you can never be too sure. I'm going to take Kansas, like you said, established winner in the tournament. They just somehow always find a way. I am going to take South Carolina here. Give me the Gamecocks. I just think much better conference than the Pac-12. I love SEC basketball a little bit better than Pac-12 basketball. I don't know. I think their matchup favors better. I believe South Carolina has a really good big man. I was reading into it, and then this one, I really like this Creighton team. I'm not going to give anything away. This is a heck of a basketball team. I watch them pretty consistently. Being a Seton Hall fan, they have 3 players on their team that score over 17 a game.
Oh wow.
Really, really, really solid team. Those 3 guys all have been in the tournament before. All are seniors. This is a heck of a basketball team. Well coached. Plays in the second best conference in basketball. Give me Creighton. I believe they had a really good, really deep run last year, so they have that. They have that championship DNA. Give me Texas. I never like these 7-10s or 6-11s where the play-in team wins a game. They just always seem to be fatigued when they come into this game. Texas, kind of been a weird team. Had some drama with their coach for a while. Kind of seemed like they could be decent. Never really panned out. Give me Texas, and then
now are you gonna have the bold? No, we will not.
Look, I love St. Peter's. Obviously, Shaheen Holloway, the connection there, but the Peacocks had their run. Give me Tennessee, who arguably, one of the better 2 seeds, not the best 2 seed. That's Iowa State, even though the committee disagreed, which is still absurd to me. But yeah.
So there's your that Midwest we just did.
Right. So now it's down to what, the West? Is that?
No, I think the South.
Okay.
Yeah. So South, just keep going.
Yeah, so give me Houston, arguably the best team in the whole tournament.
Yep.
I thought maybe they would be the number 1 overall seed, but I understand why UConn got it. No disrespect to UConn.
I love this 8-9 matchup. I don't know if you do this. This is the same matchup in the women's bracket as well.
Really?
Nebraska's playing
8-9
Texas
as well?
I'm not sure if it's 8-9 as well. You can fact check me on that, but I do know Nebraska's playing Texas A&M in the women's bracket as well, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool. So yeah, the big rivalry all week for these 2 schools should be a heck of a time on both their campuses. Oh, I accidentally clicked.
Well, you can just come. You can't undo it. Just come back.
We'll come back to it. Yeah. Okay. Give me Texas A&M. I like this Texas A&M team. At one point, they were really hot. They kind of went on a little low streak throughout the season. But when this team's at their best, they probably could have been, a 6 or 5 seed when they were playing their best basketball. I'm just going to take Texas A&M. I don't really have that's kind of a 50-50 for me. Nebraska kind of went on a late season run. They have that one really good guard. I forget his name off the top of my head, but you never know. Wisconsin, James Madison. Here's another 12-5 I'm taking. Give me James Madison.
Okay.
The Dukes as well. Another family connection. You might not know this about my family. Big James Madison family goes from my mom's side. There's a ton of people that have gone to James Madison. My cousin's there right now.
Oh, wow. My baseball trainer when I was in my baseball days was a JMU grad as well.
Really? So I have a lot of history for JMU. I believe this is one of those other. I believe this is the other school that's won 30 games this year.
And I don't know about you.
I can fact check.
I was really shocked that they gave Wisconsin a 5 seed because I feel like they really just valued in that tournament run a lot. When I saw they were 5, that was pretty surprising, at least for me.
Yeah, I think a 5 was a little high. I don't know. For me, it just seemed like they kind of based it off that one tournament, and in that one, yeah. So James Madison's 31-3. This team can win basketball games. Once again, it just something about this team. Give me the Dukes.
And speaking of Dukes,
perfect matchup. This is going to be a fun matchup in the second round. Give me Duke. I know Duke is one of those teams that is so hard to pick in March. They're one of those teams that just have battled demons.
And I love seeing it year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, shout out the year they lost to Lehigh. If you remember the Lehigh, CJ McCollum Lehigh team. Infamous
from the state of Pennsylvania as well. Shout out Lehigh.
Infamous, choke jobs in March Madness. I mean, you can go back to the Zion, RJ Barrett days, that team. But give me Duke. I don't like this Vermont team at all. Here's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting ones of the tournament. Texas Tech, I don't believe they won their conference, but man, did they have a good regular season.
Yep.
And facing them, the NC State
who I have a pretty good report on after I watched them play what was an incredible game against my Tar Heels, which honestly, it was one of those games where, as a UNC fan, I wasn't even that upset just because of the story
Yeah.
of this NC State. Even though it's one of our rivals, I mean, just what a story and what a team, honestly. They really just came together. Their season was all but gone, and they go on this improbable run, 5 games in 5 days, win them out, beating all the top dogs of the ACC on their way.
And here's where it hits.
And it's over according to Ben.
It's usually how this goes. You usually see that one team every year that wins their conference tournament. They're not supposed to. They play like
that's my rationale for Oregon. Not picking Oregon.
You play 5 games in 5 days. They beat all these best teams, and then they're like, oh my gosh, they're just tired. They're tired. Play a Texas Tech team that has historically done good in the tournament. Give me the Red Raiders. Kentucky, another blue blood school. It's hard to pick against them in the first round. I have a sneaky feeling one of these blue blood schools will probably end up losing first round, but
there's always one every year. But
there's always one. I don't know who it's going to be. Part of me wants to take one every year, but it's so hard to do it. I'm going to take Kentucky. I'm also going to take Florida. I don't trust those playing games. If there's any do it, I do like this matchup, especially if Colorado wins this game, I might go back and change it. I really like the Buffaloes. I don't like Boise State. I thought they shouldn't even have been in the tournament, but yeah, I like this matchup if Colorado wins it. And then Marquette, I love those Big East schools.
Yep.
Pretty simple for me.
Gotta rep the Big East. All right, so now we'll jump to my South bracket. Scroll up here to the top.
Sure.
All right, awesome. All right. Houston versus Longwood. I said we're picking Houston. I'm not going to waste the time here. Yep. I'll be honest with you, I was going to pick Texas A&M, but just to spice up a little bit, I'll pick Nebraska. It's an 8-9. Just
go Huskers.
Go Huskers. Go Huskers. Go. Wisconsin, JMU. You guys are going to think we scripted this, but I'm picking JMU in this one as well, just because Wisconsin everything about this matchup screams upset.
Yeah,
Wisconsin was not 5 seed worthy. We talk about JMU, another 31 team, that winning culture, that winning DNA. I just did not like this draw as Wisconsin. Like for 5-12, I just think JMU really I don't even think the spread's gonna. I think the spread will reflect that as well. Yeah, Wisconsin will be favored, but I don't think it's gonna be by a lot.
I told you, there's two. The McNeese game and this one are just so big. For any.
I'm shocked at how some of our brackets are. This is good.
This is good. I'm sure it'll change.
I'm sure it will. As much as it pains me, I'm gonna pick Duke to beat Vermont. I mean, as much as I hate Duke, I can't be delusional.
Right.
I mean, Duke should win this first round game. And that, again, like you said, the JMU Dukes versus Dukes. That'd be a fun matchup. I'm going to go with Texas Tech over NC State. I same rationale I had for Oregon earlier. I think just the gas is finally going to run empty. They're going to need a trip to the gas station, and Texas Tech's going to be waiting for them to fill them up.
Sure.
I'm going to take Kentucky over Oakland as well. Blue blood squad, like it. Here we go. Whether if it's Boise or Colorado, I like both these teams to upset Florida. I'm not a big fan of this Florida team, and I just feel like they typically just collapse in March.
You're right.
It's that hater culture.
They are really bad March performance.
I feel a bit stronger if it's Colorado. Maybe if Boise State wins, I'm liking this pick either way. I feel like I don't know.
There's usually one.
This is gonna be my one once a year. Then I'm gonna take Marquette to beat Western Kentucky.
Sorry to the Hilltoppers. Marquette's a good basketball team.
Marquette's a good team. I like them a lot. So that's it for that's it for our round of 64. I'll say. So should we just go right into the
round? You can stay here. Go
round of 32. Should I just do the East?
We can do the same order we did.
All right, UConn versus Northwestern. I think this is going to be UConn. I don't think it's going to be close. They're just so good.
This is I was saying this going into the intro. This is set up for another deep UConn run. Yep. This is a pretty good draw for them.
San Diego State versus Auburn. I'm going to take Auburn here as well. So pretty much straight chalk for the side bracket, other than Northwestern over FAU. Again, I mean, San Diego State, they won that run a few years ago, but Auburn's just such a complete team. And like I said, they won their tournament. I feel good. I mean, you can go either way on this one. It's a 5-4, but I'll take Auburn. Duquesne versus Illinois. As much as I want to take the Duquesne Dukes, this is where their little Cinderella story will end. I'm going to take the Illinois, fight Illinois to get the job done. Then Iowa State over Washington. So straight chalk for me, pretty much for this bracket. I love this Iowa State team. Conference championship winner, and conference championship winner, and then you have UConn as well. All for like big time conferences. So I mean, this is just probably the most loaded section of the 4 brackets, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. I will say, like I said, that top side of the bracket favors UConn a lot, but that bottom side of the bracket is a gauntlet down there. I mean, you have conference champion after conference champion, just a gauntlet down there.
So I'll chalk for me 1-4 versus 2-3. Start for the people that love the deep upsets. I just don't see it happening in this region, but we'll see if Ben sees it differently. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So I mean, this UConn team, they did it last year pretty convincingly. Give me UConn again over Northwestern. I like Northwestern, just not that much. I'm going to take Auburn. I like their story. I like the coaching matchup there. I'm going to take Illinois as well, and I'm going to take Iowa State as well.
So
now,
let's do a little shake there.
I will say, this probably will be my only chalk, 1 through 3, 4. It doesn't happen often. I've seen it happen before in the tournament, but I just really like all these 4 teams. The only one I'd really consider would be Duquesne over Illinois, just because Illinois wasn't a team that probably was supposed to win their conference, made a big run. Like we said,
you could make a case for all these guys potentially going on like an Elite 8 Final Four run. I mean, you really could
see it. I also am still kind of 50-50 about this Auburn matchup, but I am going to roll with Auburn. But yeah.
And just keep going down on the other side.
Sure. So now we have the Tar Heels versus Mississippi State. I do have a cousin that goes to Mississippi State, kind of random.
Oh, all right. Nice.
But I am going to take the Tar Heels. I like that matchup. And here's where I go, one of my Cinderella stories.
Oh, man. Charleston,
I have them in the Elite in the Sweet 16. You always see that one team every year that has a red-hot offense. You always see a team that can shoot the lights out, and they end up just shooting the lights out against a team that kind of puts up a dud. That's going to be my Charleston story. I really like this Charleston team to just shoot the lights out, surprise some teams, especially against a St. Mary's team that doesn't see a lot of teams that can shoot like that in a smaller conference. Give me Charleston over St. Mary's. Here's another interesting matchup. I told you I was 50-50 about Clemson. I really like this Baylor team. I think this one's pretty straightforward. Give me Baylor. Now,
this is a fun matchup.
This one's tough.
Yep.
Because I love this Dayton team, but do you pick Arizona? Arizona's historically never done good in March, and this Dayton team always does. Give me Dayton.
All right.
I mean, historically, if my dad's watching, he is the I'll guarantee if he fills out his breakfast before he watches this, I almost guarantee my dad will have Arizona in a deep run. He loves that school. He loves Arizona.
Shout out Mr. Willie. I mean, he knows it. He knows his stuff. So.
All right.
That's your. Sorry, I was slacking.
There you go. You're good. Now you can go to your.
All right. So let's see if I differ from my main man Ben's. We'll scroll down here. Carolina versus Michigan State. I'll tell you what, if this comes to play, there'll be a lot of eyes watching this game for sure. These are two just well-known programs, but of course, I'm not going to go against my Tar Heels. They'll take down Michigan State, which for Michigan State standards, a very much weaker Michigan State team from years past. This was a team that was ranked top 4, top 5 at the beginning of the year and just kind of fall off a cliff.
They had a slow start.
They kind of had to scratch and claw to make their way to this tournament. Many thought they shouldn't even be in this tournament, but I mean, Michigan State's always going to be scary no matter which way you slice it. I'm going to take St. Mary's over Alabama. Just because Alabama's star of offense like Charleston, it can be fluke-like. I mean, they play little to no defense. They just rely on that firepower offense. I like St. Mary's just coming from that smaller school. They play 1 through 5 team basketball. Yeah, and sometimes you see it. So I'm going to take St. Mary's over Alabama.
Which is funny. Now we're starting to see the differences. I didn't even have Alabama in that second game, and then I have Charleston beating St. Mary's. So the differences are coming, folks.
So I have St. Mary's in a mini upset. New Mexico versus Baylor. That was one of my more shocking upsets, but I like this Baylor team. I'm going to take Baylor over New Mexico. And like I said, Dayton, Arizona. I mean, what a game for the round of 32. This is a tough one. I am going to take Arizona. I mean, they're the slightly better team on paper, and I'm kind of building up to something later that I want to see with Arizona that I'm alluding to. I'm not going to give that away yet. But I need Arizona to win this game, so I'm going to take them to beat Dayton. So 3-2-1-5. So still pretty much straight chalk for me for the most part. So,
nothing wrong with that.
I mean, there's probably bound for some upsets here coming up. I'm not going to give anything away, but do we just want to roll with me still?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're going to go with Purdue again. Could this finally be the year for the Boilermakers? I don't know, but I think
it will.
I think they're at least going to make it to the Sweet 16. Give me Purdue over Utah State and brace yourself. McNeese over Kansas.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, that winning culture, there's just something to it. This is my first big upset. Give me McNeese over Kansas, and then Purdue versus McNeese coming up. I mean, what a doozy that will be. We'll keep going down here. Creighton over South Carolina. I really like this Creighton team a lot.
I think they're the best seed. I'll say it. I think they're the best 3 seed in this whole tournament.
And then we have Orange versus Orange, the T's versus the T's, Texas, Tennessee. I'm going to take Tennessee to win this one. They've just been very consistent all year long. Just not a big fan of this Texas team, to be honest. If they got a worse draw in the first round, they're probably going to be an upset, but they got the winner of UVA versus CSU. Yeah. If they got like one of these other teams, the other team like Akron, I would be scratching my head. But But I mean, with their draw, I think they got a bit lucky. But I'm going to take Tennessee. So Tennessee, Creighton, McNeese, and Purdue.
There's always one. I told you. For me, it's Charleston so far, and for you, it's McNeese. I don't hate that pick. We'll see what I have to say about it. but I don't hate my pick. So let's go through it while we're here. Okay, I'm going to take Purdue. I told you, I think this year will be the year. I'm not saying, look, we'll get there when the time comes. I'm not saying that this is a championship team or a Final Four team just yet, but I think they're at least going to get over the hump and at least make a deeper run. I mean, people forget Purdue many, many years ago did go on a deep run in the tourney with a guy like the name Carson Edwards. If you remember that name, that's a throwback for all you March Madness fans out there. But I don't know, just something about Purdue just seems like this is their year. They have everything. They have a chip on their shoulder now.
Yep.
I'm going to take Kansas. I know the McNeese story. Usually how these 12-5 goes is you usually see.
I mean, if you had McNeese and Carlson, I mean, that would have been something.
Usually you see a 12-5 win a first game, and then they usually just this theme runs out. It's the most predictable upset, but you don't see a lot of 12 teams make deep runs. I'll say that about the 12-5. I'm going to take Creighton as well, pretty to the book here. I'm actually going to go straight chalk. I think that's the first time. The first time I'm going straight chalk for this whole bracket so far. I just think everything makes total sense there. I like Creighton a lot. I told you, arguably my favorite 3 seed in this whole tournament, not to give anything away. But in Tennessee, like you said, I don't like that Texas team. Just the fact that they played an easy first round.
Let's see what's going on down south.
Yeah, so now we're going to head to the south. This is a fun region for me. I like Houston. I just something about these 1 seeds. You usually see them make the Sweet 16, and then usually it collapses from there. So give me Houston. I don't really like this Texas A&M team. They just had a really good first round. I'm thinking about this 12-4.
Uh-oh. Can he do it? Can he do it?
I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm not going to do it just yet. Here's where I'm going to go a little crazy.
Oh, okay.
I like Texas Tech.
Okay.
I think this Texas Tech team usually makes deep runs. They play very defensive style basketball. Their coach is one of the best defensive coaches in college basketball every year. I think Kentucky's just going to hit a dud. Just something about Kentucky this year. I don't like them. I don't like them. I know they have that really good player. People are like Dillingham, I think his name is.
Well, I mean, Kentucky, they had some rough going. I remember one play, they lost 3 straight home games, which was the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
Good playoff team. They did get their stuff together. They finished the season pretty strong. Had a tough loss in the SEC tournament, but all things considered, their season on a strong note. But yeah, I'm losing Texas Tech.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always that middle seed that makes a run. I'm gonna take Texas Tech there. Give me Marquette. I don't really love this Florida team. Like I said, I'm still iffy about even taking them in that first round. If Colorado wins, I might switch that. Not sure. But Marquette, once again, I'm telling you, it could be biased. Call what you want. But Big East basketball is good basketball. Give me Marquette.
All right. So that's the round of 32 for both of us. So now is where it starts to get fun, at least for me. The Sweet 16, because these are really when we start seeing the best of the best trying to go against one another. So let's go up to mine here. UConn versus Auburn. I'm still going with the Huskies.
Sure.
I mean, UConn, just their entire program, both men's and women's, when it comes to these tournament styles, they just flourish in March.
They always know what to do.
They always flourish in March. Then Iowa State versus Illinois. I'm going to take Iowa State, which I cannot wait for this matchup between UConn and Iowa State. But I love this Iowa State team. I think they should have been a 1 seed. And I think
what a disrespect to the committee, by the way. I don't know if I brought this up. The way the bracket's set up is the number 1 overall 1 seed cannot play the number 1 overall 2 seed, which means the committee didn't even have Iowa State as their best 2 seed. What a disgrace.
On paper, shouldn't that be the worst 2 seed UConn's playing in theory?
I don't know if it works like that, but for a fact, it means that they weren't the best 2 seed, which is a disgrace. Arguably could have been a 1 seed. You don't even have them as the best 2 seed. What are we doing, committee?
Do you want me to stop here? Do you want me to keep going with the West down here? Do you want me to stop here?
You can keep going.
We'll just do one side since it's less games. So just
yeah.
So UConn North Carolina over St. Mary's. I think it's a bit of a stretch having St. Mary's going this far. That's one of the ones I'm a bit nervous about. I think my Tar Heels. I'm kind of hoping for this draw. Maybe this is kind of just my hope that we're going against St. Mary's in Sweet 16. Give me the Tar Heels. Then give me Arizona over Baylor. I have 1-2 for both of them, and this is kind of just me wanting to see this. I want to see Caleb Love versus UNC going against his former team. I want to see RG Davis versus Caleb Love. This is more maybe wishful thinking. Yeah. But I mean, it's still 1 versus 2. I mean, on paper, the most likely outcome. I mean, I feel like you still, as much as this March Madness, I feel like you still see the big dogs still find a way their way to the end. So I got 1-2 on both sides. So UConn, Iowa State, North Carolina versus Arizona for my left side of my bracket.
All right. Well, hey, let's have some fun here. I'm going to take UConn. We talked about it. Just this team. I know they won it last year. Part of me gives me an uneasy feeling knowing that they won it last year, especially so convincingly.
Yep.
Part of me thinks something's got to give. Not just yet. I'm not going to do it just yet. I love this UConn team. They just play good basketball. They always find a way. Here's a really tough. Love this matchup very much. Illinois versus Iowa State. These are two of the best teams. I mean, these are is a really good matchup, but this is just a pretty. To me, this seems like the most straightforward 1-2. Both these teams are better than everyone else in their side of the bracket. I just really like these teams. Then we got the West. Now this
Charleston over against North Carolina.
This is
back. All right. Hopefully, I'm gonna check the setting. We just had a bit of a Wi-Fi bug, but we're gonna keep rolling with it. Hopefully, we're back.
Hopefully,
we'll find
we're
out.
just gonna keep running a roll. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it works. It doesn't work. This is where things might go off the rails a little bit for Charleston. I am gonna have them losing to North Carolina here. To me, it just makes so much sense. I don't know, something about North Carolina. Just they're probably gonna make a run. They always do every couple of years. It seems like they're due for one. I know you're happy to hear that.
I am happy to hear that. I'm really gonna see what you're gonna do here because you can really make the case for Dayton. You really can. I'm a big fan of them.
And we're going to do it.
Oh, right. You know, I'm happy for that. I like that. I'm
telling you, this Dayton team is heavily disrespected. I think the matchup just really favors them here. I love this Baylor team, but I think Dayton plays a different style of basketball that the Big 12 doesn't really give you. Dayton plays that. I mean, they live up to their name. They play tough style basketball, and the Big 12 is a little bit more high flying action. Give me Dayton. I think the matchup is kind of favorable for them. That's going to be my one of my shockers of the Elite Eight.
And you know what? Just hop on over. Let's see what I got going on the other side.
Yeah, so let's run through it. Okay, we're gonna start at the top here. Purdue, Kansas. Now, if this goes the way it is, this is a really good matchup. I think these are two really blue blood teams. I am gonna take Purdue. I don't feel great about it. Part of me thinks that Kansas is just gonna find a way because they always do.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna take Purdue, and then I am gonna take an upset here. If you even call it an upset, I
don't think it's an upset.
I love Creighton, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this Creighton team is just there's not enough good things I can say about it. And then you just want me to go through the other one then?
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Sure. So then we're gonna go all the way up here to Houston versus Duke. This would be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah,
I hope it plays out this way. I'm gonna take Duke.
Oh,
something about Duke. they haven't had a good run in a while now.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
And I like this Duke team. Houston's as much as I think they're a really safe bet through most of the tournament, it's usually those high-end seeds that play in a weaker conference. They just, something about it. But yeah, I'm going to take Duke. And then Texas Tech versus Marquette. I am going to stick to the book here. Give me Marquette versus Texas Tech. Sorry, Texas Tech fans.
All right, let's see what I'd say is my rebuttal to that right side of the bracket. Houston versus Nebraska. I'm gonna take Houston.
Where did Nebraska come from? I haven't seen them.
We're gonna take Houston to beat Nebraska there. Let me have the Duke. I'm gonna take Duke to win this one. Am I behind on a?
You might be.
I think I forgot to do my top one, so I'll just have to catch up a little bit here. So I am gonna take Duke to beat the Dukes against JMU. Kentucky, yeah, I totally did forget to do that. But that's fine.
That's okay.
We'll catch up right here. I'm gonna take Kentucky over Texas Tech. You kind of said it's so hard to play against Kentucky.
It's hard. I
feel like Texas Tech, they do good every year.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're finally due to finally have an off year in this thing. So I'm gonna take Kentucky to beat Texas Tech, and then there's no way I can pick the winner of this game to go again. We'll take Marquette there, for sure, no doubt about that. So that's my round 32. Forgot to do that. So now we'll fill in. Now we're back on track. Houston versus Duke. I'm gonna take Houston here.
I don't hate it.
It's just hard for me to pick Duke to go any farther than the Sweet 16. I just can't. I physically just can't do that to myself.
Sure.
But Houston's a great team. I'm gonna take them there. Then Kentucky Marquette. Go Wildcats. I'm gonna take Kentucky here. A little bit of a mini upset there.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fun game. These are two high flying offenses. Pick your poison. I'm gonna take the Wildcats there. Go Kentucky. As we scroll on to the bottom here, Purdue versus McNeese. Now, as much as I'd like to pick McNeese again, this was kind of my Cinderella story in my bracket. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pick Purdue. I really hope this is the year for them because if not this year, I mean, this is like they're kind of their last dance. I mean, they're losing pretty much most of their team. So Purdue over McNeese, their Cinderella story finally ends. Give me Creighton over Tennessee. I like this Creighton team a lot. Not the biggest fan of Tennessee as a 2 seed. I think they could have easily been a 3 or 4. I wouldn't be surprised if Creighton's favored to win that game. I don't know if you want to call it an upset. So I'm going to got Creighton winning that one. And then that leads us to the Elite Eight. Should we just stick with me on the left side? So we have UConn, Iowa State. What a doozy. This is national championship level matchup. Now we're in. And I think UConn will not go back-to-back. I'm going to take the Cyclones to beat UConn.
Sure.
I mean, it's very hard where you see 2 years in a row a team going back-to-back runs this far. I think of North Carolina, they did it.
Did they?
They lost to Villanova on the buzzer beater, and then they came back next year and won it all. But it's very rare where you see a team 2 years in a row go on deep runs. I mean, this is a tough draw. Even as I understand it's a 2 seed, but this Iowa State team's so good. So I got them in UConn there. Then I call it bias, call it what you want. I'm picking my Tar Heels to beat Arizona. I think it kind of
makes you feel any better. I don't even have Arizona in this game.
I think if you're probably know who I'm going to pick to win my bracket. Should I just go for my whole? You may just stop there, or do you want me to
do your whole Elite Eight? There's only 4 games.
I'm going to pick Crane to beat Purdue as well. Okay. I like this Crane team a lot, and I just don't think this is a year for Purdue. I think they're just going to have another collapse. And like you said, Purdue, you have 3 guys that score the basketball really, really well. Yeah, you can even have one of those guys have an off night, and you're still pretty much good from a points perspective. So I'm going to take Crane over Purdue. Then our last matchup, we have Houston versus Kentucky.
Look at the logo matchup.
Pretty much identical logos, red versus blue. Maybe a little bit of a political showdown here, but I'm going to take Houston to beat Kentucky. So that leaves my final 4, 1, 2, 1, 3. So 2 1 seeds, a 2 seed, and 3 seed. Not bad. I mean, I feel like typically you still see the top dogs make it to the end. So
as long as you're not Shannon Sharp. I don't know if you saw on ESPN today for both his men and women's basketball. All ones for both the men and women's. That's why they get paid the big bucks and we don't.
So Houston, Creighton, Iowa State, North Carolina, my final 4. Let's switch it over to Ben. But I mean, like I said, it's March Madness. I feel like there's no wrong pick.
No, because no matter who tells you what, there's a reason that it's the $1 million perfect bracket challenge. It doesn't happen. You can go if you have some free time, go watch. There's millions of videos on the internet of the statistical
probabilities.
How just unbelievably impossible this whole thing is beyond sports, just pure mathematics. Anyways, let's break this down. UConn versus Iowa State, like you said, this is the best Elite Eight matchup if this does go down. This is a heck of a matchup. I'm going to take Iowa State as well.
Wow, you're picking Iowa State as well.
I just really like this Iowa State team. Like I said, you rarely see teams do it back to back, and this Iowa State team should have been a 1 seed. I think they got something to prove. I like Iowa State. Duke versus Marquette is one of those matchups that's
a fun one.
I really don't know who I like here. Part of me wants to take Marquette, but surprisingly, I'm going to take Duke to go in the Final 4. Wow. I know that might shock a lot of people. Usually, especially for a team that got bounced first round.
They have the talent personnel to do it. There's no reason they can't.
Right. I'm going to take Duke. Let's go to the bottom side of the bracket here for 2 fun ones. North Carolina.
I love that Dayton, North Carolina. That's just a fun matchup. I kind of hope that happens. I'd love to see Dayton go on a run.
I think Dayton's going to give them the kitchen sink, but I am going to take North Carolina. This will be close. If this does happen, I think Dayton's going to give them all they got, but it's just not going to be enough. I think this is where they hit the wall of just too talented of a team. But props to this Dayton team for making it that far, if they do end up making it that far. And then Creighton over Purdue. Once again.
Pretty similar brackets for the most part.
Yeah. Do we have 3 of the 4 same?
Yeah, that's great. And again, we did not script out any of this. This is all just pure coincidence. We're reacting at the same time as you guys are. You know what, Ben? Just keep it on yours. Who's going to the national championship?
Yeah, so this is where we might differ. I'm not sure.
Come on, give me the Duke UNC national championship, biggest game in college basketball history.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to start over here. Give me Iowa State.
Okay.
I love this Iowa State team. I just think everything about it just screams championship. We'll get to my championship prediction in a moment, but give me Iowa State and then give me Creighton.
Yep.
What a story for this Creighton team representing Big East basketball. I hope it happens again because Big East basketball deserves another championship game. I just think the matchup finally Duke's going to hit a wall. They usually choke at some point. Give me it finally in the Final 4. Give me the Creighton. What are they? The Blue Jays or something like that?
Blue Jays. Yep.
Go Creighton.
All right. Well, I'll leave it to mine. I'm going to go Creighton as well. I'll start on this side here. I'm going to pick Creighton to beat Houston as well. I really like Creighton. I can't believe we both have Creighton go to the national championship. That's a little
I just think they played a good draw. I think they got a good draw, and this team arguably could have been a 2 seed. I
feel like the way this bracket plays out, they kind of feel like the 1 seed of the bracket, the way the matchups fall. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but just
it's true.
So I got Creighton over Houston again, and we talk about with Houston. It's really rare where you see a team from a non-big conference just win it all. It doesn't happen. Like Gonzaga is really one of the few teams that seem to make good runs journey. But even Gonzaga, they follow a lot in big games as well. So I got Creighton over Houston, and of course I'm going with my Tar Heels to beat Iowa State. And I mean, I already pretty much spoiled who I'm picking. Of course, I'm picking Carolina to win it all as well. But I have to. I got to. I love my Tar Heels. Granted, you haven't gone to the Final 4 as well, so it's not. At least it's not like
basketball team.
So North Carolina Creighton, that'd be a fun matchup. I really like this Creighton team. I'm obviously rooting for them. I like it a lot. So I got North Carolina winning it all against Creighton.
What's your tiebreaker while we're here?
Oh, what tiebreaker? Okay, so let's just Creighton's a high-powered offense. Carolina's a bit more average offense. They just play all-around basketball. Let's see. Carolina's going to put up low 70s, 72. Okay. And they're going to play the free throw game in a little bit, so the score's going to be a bit stretched. I'm going to say it's going to be 72-64.
So what's the – I'll do it on a calculator right
72-64. That should be 136.
72 plus 64, 136.
All right, so oh, no, hit a new tab. You guys probably can't even see it on your guys' screen. 136, and that's total points. Yep, all right. And you know what? While we're here, like I said, this is my official bracket.
Now, wait a second. You must be 21 plus.
Oh, you're right. You know, good. Hey, I almost committed a felony live on camera. So we won't enter that one. Next year, I'll be entering the Corals Light Challenge. But that's going to be it for me. Carolina chopping down the nets. Your national champions beating Creighton.
All right, well, here we go. The final matchup here. Iowa State versus Creighton. I hope this happens. I would love this matchup. I just love both these teams.
I feel like any matchup with Creighton is just a fun matchup, just by the nature of how
they're
they play basketball.
They're a fun team. As much as I'd love to see back-to-back Big East champions, I'm going to take Iowa State. This Cyclones team, I think, like I said, it spells big run for me. A team that should have been seeded higher than they are. Just everything about this Iowa State team. Man, if I can get that one out. Give me the Cyclones. I'm going to take like kind of a similar margin. I'm going to say 171, maybe a little bit of a higher scoring game.
Well, that's a really higher scoring, not a little bit of, that's a huge margin, but hey, I'm here for it.
What was yours?
136.
Oh, wait, I did the math wrong. Sorry. I was no, not that high. What was it? 131? I'm going to take like 142.
Okay, I was like 171.
No. Sorry, I misunderstood the situation. You can laugh at me in the comments or something. Go ahead.
I'm never saying 120. Oh, now you're saying 0 points.
Now it's okay.
What? Oh, 1,420.
Not that many points. Not that many points. 142 points. Give me the Iowa State Cyclones. I never thought I'd pick this team, but it ended up being that way, at least for now. You never know. You never know in these. Maybe 2 nights from now, I'll be laying in bed and I'll have like an moment.
These are subject to change. And we'll update you in future episodes. But all things considered, I'm surprised. Oddly similar brackets for the most part, even in terms of the upsets we see happening as well. Like I said, we didn't know what our brackets were going into this.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how the cookies crumbled. So that's our picks for March Madness. I guess it'll be fun to come in episodes. Like we can react to each round like as they happen. So it should be fun. It should be fun.
We should be together to watch these games. I don't know about you, but I will be watching almost all these games as much as my schedule permits me to.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll be together watching games as you can expect.
I mean, it's going to be a fun time. March Madness. What a time to be alive. Nothing beats
March
Madness. And we'll be back. Like I said, we should have more NFL talk coming up soon. Of course, we're reacting to March Madness. Go watch basketball. My dad, he had vacation days. He's using them for Thursday and Friday.
We hope you enjoyed this, by the way. I know
this is something we're excited about. Like this is like as Ben said at the beginning. This is something we wouldn't have no chance of doing. It would just be us talking. But you have the visual element where you could see it.
Yeah.
This is fun stuff. It gives us more creative freedom. So we hope you guys enjoy it. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. This was fun because this is like something that we would do off camera anyways. This is like the same pretty much conversation,
which is what it's all about.
We're just hitting a record button and and shooting the you know what.
PG.
Shooting the crap.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. All right, well, then I guess that'll do it, right?
Yeah, I guess we have much more to add there. He's Ben Woolley. I'm Jude Brazil. Enjoy March Madness. Go Heels.
Let's go dancing.